What is going on, nerds? Today, sort of in honor of the close to 1 year anniversary of the January 6th insurrection that was all about stopping the steal, or so-called steal, I noticed there was a report that came out from Maricopa County finalizing the results of the multiple audits. And I didn't see a lot of people, of Trump supporters, talking about it. It didn't really get talked about much on Fox News or OAN or Newsmax. But this is Nerds for Humanity, so we want to dig into the details. So I have a copy of the report. It's about 100 pages, so I don't think we're going to go over all of it. But, I think we should look at some of it and ask ourselves and see what they found. I haven't had a chance to read it, so we'll be unboxing it, as it were, together. So stay tuned. If you're interested in receipts and details and not just accusations, this will be the episode for you. But before we get started, let's get Andrew back in the show.
There's no place to hide now that he's arrived. I'm saying he ain't playing now with this campaign. Bang, dang, it's and Drew, come roll with the Yang Gang. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up with. Drew Yang Gang, that's who I hooked up. Yo, there's no place to hide now that he's arrived. I'm saying he ain't playing now with this campaign. Bang, dang, it's and Drew, come roll with.
Hello, nerds. Nerds for Humanity. I got up early. I don't know why. Probably some, thinking about work and stuff, but it's Saturday, so I don't want to do my day job right this second. But I'm always up for a live stream about politics. I see there's some other nerds already in the stream. Aurora Borealis saying, all I will say is if there was fraud, it didn't start in the general. Checkalego, who I believe is a member, thanks Checkalego, says, wow, early stream. Yes, Happy New Year to you as well. Castle Kingside, hello, nerds. Ryota Kasamatsu, hello, nerds. Audrey saying, hello, nerds. Think Beyond, good morning. Castle Kingside, shout out to Tom and Andrew Yang. Yeah, we'd love to. I tell you, I'd love to get Andrew back in the nerd zone. If anybody sees Andrew, please tell him that I'm trying to contact him and would love to get him back on the show. But I know he's a busy dude. But hopefully we'll get him back on, because I'd love to ask him, how the whole third-party thing is going and what's the plan and what was the thinking behind it. And so, Andrew, if someone shares this video with you, please let me know. Contact me. You know how to reach me. Okay. So the point of this show is to look at the Arizona, the fraud that was, accused in Arizona. So we're going to do a few things. First, we're going to look at some of former President Trump's statements about Arizona. And then we're going to look at, I think we're going to look at the press conference that Rudy Giuiliani had with Jenna Ellison and Sydney Powell, where they talked about all of this, rampant fraud in Arizona and elsewhere. And then we'll actually look at the data and the report, 1 year later. Also, after collecting all of the information from the cyber ninjas, the Arizona State Republican commissioned investigation when they were looking for all kinds of things like bamboo fibers in the paper. And, what did they find? It's interesting. There was all this talk. It was kind of like when Trump was elected the first time in 2016. Remember when he said there were millions and millions of fraudulent votes, and that's why he didn't win the popular vote? And then he actually started a whole commission on election integrity, and they were going to investigate all of the stolen votes from 2016. And then he quietly decommissioned that study months later because they couldn't find anything. So sort of pointing fingers at the referees is not a new thing in the world, and certainly not for this president or former president. But yeah, let's kind of do a little bit of a retrospective, because politics these days, sometimes it can be very hot and heavy. The tweet of the day, the drama of the day, and then nobody actually takes the time to look at the facts. And so, it's Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific time. What else should I do? All right, but hang out with some nerds. All right, so let's get on with it. So the first thing we'll do is there's actually this really handy archive of the president's former tweets. Now that he's no longer on Twitter, you can still get access to the history of what this man was saying. So it's on the trumparchive.com. So thanks for whoever put that together. It's very useful. And thanks for all the likes already on the stream. I love it. Appreciate it. Helps people find out more about this content and this channel. All right. So looky here. So you could see, I'm just searching for when the Trump Twitter account published anything around Arizona. And you can see, obviously, before the election, he was talking about, hey, sleepy Joe Biden, this is a historic vote. We want to keep winning, and you're going to get tired of winning. Let's get out the vote, So very normal stuff. And then polls showing that he's ahead in the RCP index of polls. I think I remember, he would always share the polls showing he was ahead. You can't expect the candidate to share the negative polls, but so this is what Trump was talking about, and this is history. It's sometimes we forget what this guy was saying. Now, on November 12th, he also talks after the election with 206. Hold on a second. Let me move my face. I'm like blocking your view of the president's tweets. Hold on one second. Let me move myself over here. Slide. All right, there we go. So you can see over here there were on November 12th, 45,000 retweets, 200,000 likes, when he says at 8 a.m. on November 12th, from 200,000 votes to less than 10,000 votes, if we just audit the total votes cast, we will easily win Arizona. And then on November 13th, he says the horrendous Dominion voting system was used in Arizona. No wonder the result was a very close loss. And then he retweets on November 24th 6,000 fake Biden votes found in Arizona. Then on November 25th, a day later, Trump team wins hearings in Arizona. November 30th, Trump legal team in Arizona on OANN. Big stuff. Enjoy. November 30th, wow, total election corruption. Now, this is the sitting president of the United States. when people ask themselves and they say, well, Trump had nothing to do with the insurrection on January 6th, where people violently broke into the Capitol while the Congress was trying to certify election results. This is why. This is the sitting president at that time of the United States, almost a month after he lost, saying total election corruption in Arizona. That's the president of the United States telling his millions of followers, getting 55,000 people to retweet it, 250,000 likes, you know. Then he says, watch live Arizona Republican state legislature hearing on election fraud. Then what does he say? Donald Trump calls in the Arizona fraud hearing. We're fighting back, right? Great support from witnesses. I remember my MAGA brother telling me, Tom, you should watch the legislative hearing on this. And I said, look, number one, the Arizona legislature is run by Trumpists. Number two, if they have evidence, they should go to a court. Bring it to a court and have it subject to cross-examination and evidentiary rules. And MAGA brother said, oh, you're just a never Trumper. I'm like, no, I'm just asking for the receipts, bro. You can't have a partisan hearing and you just have a bunch of people talking trash. If they have evidence, bring it out. So then he says, President Trump on December 2nd, 2020 says, in Arizona, it turns out that 3% votes cast in the 100-count vote sampling were tainted or worse. This would be, if carried forward, approximately 90,000 votes more than we would need to win the state. Okay, first of all, why would you only do a 100-count vote sampling? Seriously, bro. But secondly, this is getting shared out. 260,000 likes, millions of people probably talking to their friends about it. So anyway, as you can see, Trump constantly talks about Arizona. Audits reveal error rates in Arizona of 70%. 70% error rates in Arizona. So, this is what we're dealing with. This is just a little time machine. Thank God for archives. So people remember how crazy this dude was. And if that's not enough craziness for you, remember this?
We certainly were confronted with a very anomalous set of results. The president way ahead on election night, 700,000 or 800,000 in Pennsylvania. Somehow he lost Pennsylvania. We have statisticians willing to testify that that's almost statistically impossible to have happened in the period of time that it happened. But of course, that's just speculation.
Yes, it is.
As we started investigating, both our investigations and the very patriotic and brave American citizens that have come forward are...
Now, if you'll remember, that's Rudy Giuliani, the lead attorney that Trump asked to investigate the fraud. That's Jenna Ellison, another attorney, and that's Sydney Powell, probably the most nutty of them all. I think even Trump or Giuliani ended up firing her or removing her from the effort. But this was what happened on November 19th, 2020.
Extraordinary number of people, extraordinary number of witnesses. And what emerged very quickly is there's not a singular voter fraud in one state. This pattern repeats itself in a number of states. Almost exactly the same pattern, which...
So we won't watch the whole thing, but as you can tell, there's this narrative, right? Like there's mass fraud. It was everywhere. So when people say like, oh, I think what happened in January 6th was, those Trump supporters, they were just looking to take pictures of the statues. No. they were misled and convinced that our democracy was under attack. That's how, and the sad thing is, a year later, how many cases have been won by these so-called Stop the Steal patriots? Zero. Where's all this evidence a year later? If the democracy of America was really undermined and a presidential election, an American presidential election was truly stolen, and there was mass fraud and multi-state international implications, not a single shred of evidence that could stand up in court. And so some people say, oh, Trump lost the 60 court cases because of standing. Like the judges wouldn't even listen to the evidence. If you actually spent the time looking into the details of, let's say, Maricopa County, you'd know, Tom, there's hundreds of thousands of ballots were stolen or delivered in the middle of the night. Well, turns out that I have time. I have time now. And there's 100 pages of results of multiple audits by the Maricopa County Elections Department. And as you know, Arizona is not a deep blue state. It is run by a Republican governor with a Republican state house. And this report was published after the famous Trumpist cyber ninja investigation, which was talked about very often by Mike the Pillow Guy. And he said, wait till you see what happened in Maricopa County. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the receipts. So let's look at it together. This will be the first time for both of us. It is the second largest voting jurisdiction in the United States. So this isn't some little, one-horse town. 2.6 million registered voters. More than 60% of Arizona's registered voters are in Maricopa County. And let's see. What's the executive summary? The election was administered with integrity and the results were accurate and reliable. This has been proven through statutorily required accuracy tests, court cases, hand counts performed by the political parties, and post-election audits. The Elections Department followed all federal and state election laws. Okay? So then they're going to go through all of these allegations. So we're going to go through many of them together on this stream. And by the way, if you are enjoying this content, don't forget to like and share. All right. So many of the allegations about the November 20th election made their way to the court. And the Maricopa County clearly presented the facts to judges at both the state and federal level. 14, guys, listen to this, 14 different times, okay? 14 different times, complaints alleged election fraud, manipulation, or tampering. Not a single claim succeeded, okay? Just in Maricopa County alone, there were 14 complaints, and not a single one succeeded in court. So the county welcomes objective reviews following the election. Professional nonpartisan reviews yielded many positive changes in 2018. After the 2020 election, the county hired 2 federally certified voting system test laboratories to conduct an audit of the famous Dominion tabulation equipment used to count ballots for all 5 of the elections administered in 2020. Both certified laboratories found no anomalies in the tabulation equipment and confirmed that all tested software systems and equipment were using certified software. There was no malicious malware or hardware installed. No evidence of internet connectivity was found. So remember, when the Trumpers were saying, hey, I heard from my friend who read on Twitter that had a link to a Breitbart website that quoted an unnamed source saying that the Venezuelans or the Chinese or the Iranians or the Mexicans or whoever were secretly changing the votes in the middle of the night, and George Soros paid all this money from Montreal. It's like, oh my God. Enough. Enough of the rabble-rousing. You had 14 attempts to prove it with evidence. You lost in every single one of them. 60 across the country. So anyway, despite all evidence to the contrary, false allegations continue to persist and damage voter confidence. I mean, literally, the former president of the United States told his followers just like weeks ago that the real insurrection was on November of 2020 and not in January, and saying that the election day in November was the great insurrection. He's still saying this. Still. Like, dude, you lost. You lost. It was close. You actually fought a really good fight. It was closer than a lot of us would have thought it would have been, considering how you handled COVID. But you lost. Okay? And so let's figure out, did he really lose in Maricopa County? All right. Let's go through here we go. The report produced by the Republican Senate contractor Cyber Ninjas inaccurately challenges the legitimacy of thousands of votes who participated in the election. By the way, the Cyber Ninja report also showed, or was unable to show, that there was anything that would have changed the outcome of the election. That's a Trumpist organization retained by state Republicans, and even they couldn't find it. Now, they did make a bunch of criticisms, and so even those, Maricopa County is saying that these are inaccurate and faulty conclusions. So let's go through more of them in detail. So here you see they've gone through every single reference and then analyzed it and then gave a specific response. So I'm not going to go through each of these rows, but let's see if we can kind of dig into a few of them. All right. Our analysis did find that there were 37 instances. 37. Not 37,000. Not 3,700. Not 3 million. 37.0. Okay. Instances where a voter may have unlawfully cast multiple ballots. 37 instances. Oh, Nell Nieves is in the house. Hey, Nell. We have forwarded these instances to the Attorney General's office, and we have also found 50 instances in which a ballot was potentially double counted. In total, we have found fewer than 100 potentially questionable ballots out of 2.1 million. This is the very definition of exceptionally rare. None of these instances impacted the outcomes of races, and thorough review confirmed there were no systemic issues related to ballot counting and processing. The Senate's contractor Cipher reviewed the tabulation equipment And what did Cipher find? There is not a single accurate claim contained in Cipher's analysis of tabulation equipment and EMS. This includes the allocation that county staff intentionally deleted logs, which is not true. Cipher looked for ballot images in the wrong areas and then wrongly assumed that the images were corrupt. Cipher also aired inaccurate claims about routers being connected to the EMS and incorrectly concluded that tabulation equipment was connected to the internet, leading to additional inaccurate and misleading claims. In its September 24th, 2021 presentation, Cipher accused county staff of intentionally deleting files. All 2020 election files have been preserved and archived. The county created 26 daily backups of the EMS server during the election, with the last one occurring after tabulation was completed on November 13th. All backup drives and corresponding data files have been maintained and safely secured, contrary to claims made by the Arizona Senate. The Arizona Senate did not subpoena these archived files. Let's say that again. There were 27 daily backups. They were there available for you to look at. The Republican Senate did not want to look at them. Okay, next. And then this is all of the Cipher, more of the Cyber Ninja claims, all inaccurate or false. 5 false, 15 inaccurate, 7 misleading. Then another contractor, EchoMail, reviewed 1.9 million early ballot affidavit images. EchoMail's analysis of the early ballot affidavit images is misleading at best. The anomalies EchoMail uncovered are due to flawed understanding of signature verification laws and practices. EchoMail's analysis did not consider the signature curing process as when a voter corrects a signature issue by contacting the elections department. The thousands of quote-unquote duplicate early ballot envelope images that EchoMail claimed were anomalies have a simple answer. As voters cure signature issues, the elections department takes another image of that envelope. Only one ballot was counted for each envelope. In addition, EchoMail's findings including misleading claims about the county signature verification process, which has been proven accurate in court. That's the key thing. Proven accurate in court. EchoMail also fails to understand Arizona's election laws related to the processing of early ballot affidavits, signature review. A summary of their conclusions is included in this table. So EchoMail had 10 claims, 6 misleading, 3 inaccurate, 1 false. So let's see. Then they go through each one, each item, just for giggles. Let's see if we'll dig into one of them. Obviously, we can't go in through all of them. So, Cyber Ninja's report included 4 misleading claims about the county's cooperation, saying there was audit interference, misleading subpoena items, subpoena equipment not provided, voter registration system audit access not provided. So, what's the response? Despite claims to the contrary, the county complied with the Senate subpoenas. Within days of issuance of the Jan 12, 2021 subpoena, the county had gathered and provided with the Senate thousands of documents and over 8 terabytes of data. In addition to the documents, the Senate subpoena commanded Maricopa County to attend a public hearing. When the elected officials arrived, the Senate did not have a hearing scheduled, and they turned the county's election officials away. The county asked for judicial clarification of the lawfulness of producing paper ballots, images, and equipment after Maricopa County's Superior Court ruled that the law allowed the production. The county did not appeal the ruling, but instead asked Senate President when the county could deliver almost 2.1 million ballots to the Senate's chambers. The Senate requested that the county keep the ballots until the Senate could find a location. As later stipulated by the Senate, the county did deliver the ballots, equipment, and other data subpoenaed by the Senate to the Arizona Veterans Memorial Coliseum. So that's the response to this argument that, None of the information was provided. Let's take a look at some of these other items and find the most kind of juicy one. So that we talked about the audit cooperation. Ooh. You know, we always hear this talk of the hand count and the machine count. So let's find out what happened with the Cyber Ninja hand count. That was the one where they were looking for the bamboo and the secret ballots and the ballots that were being photocopied over and over and over again, right? Okay, maybe this is the most important one. Maricopa County's tabulation equipment is reliable, accurate, and secure. This has been confirmed by 10. Guys, 10. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9. 10 freaking separate statutorily required logic and accuracy tests. 3 separate hand counts. 3 hand counts performed by the political parties, and two audits committed by federally certified labs. On November 23rd, Maricopa County delivered the November general election certified results. These are the certified results that the Trump administration tried to suppress. The county elections department stands by those certified results. And here's a summary of the requirements and steps taken. All right, so what did the Maricopa County do to make sure they were counting these ballots properly? In December 2019, after a competitive bidding process and pilot test, the jurisdictional elections that confirmed the tabular results with 100% hand count, the county finalized a contractor with Dominion voting systems. Okay, the contract was awarded after Dominion obtained both federal and state certification, and this is all under the Trump administration. As part of the cert process, the equipment underwent extensive testing for reliability, accuracy, and security. Find the federal certificate. That's the Trump federal government certificate of conformance for Dominion Voting Systems Democracy Suite 5.5 here. On October 6th, the Elections Department performed a logic and accuracy test on the tabulation equipment in accordance with state law. The test date was published in the newspaper, open to the public, observed by both Democratic and Republican Party representatives, city, town clerks, school, and health district representatives. The law requires an errorless count before tabulators and software can be used in an election. These tests confirmed the equipment was tabulating ballots accurately, paving the way for the November 2020 general election. Okay. November 4th, a hand count audit of election results performed by Maricopa County political parties to include Republican, Democratic, and Libertarian parties found 100% match to the vote tabulation equipment. The hand count audit, which is required by law, covered a statistically significant sample of ballots. The hand count was viewable on the election department's website, and the results were shared publicly. 2 prior hand counts performed by the same recognized political parties found a 100% match between the Dominion tabulation equipment and hand count results. On November 18th, 2020, the Elections Department and the Arizona Secretary of State's office performed a post-election logic and accuracy test on the equipment to ensure it was not changed or tampered with during the election. Because remember, some people were saying, well, you did the test before the election, but what you don't know is in the middle of the night during the election, there was all this change. So they did another check after. Members of all 3 political parties and a representative from the Arizona Attorney General's office, which reports to the Republican governor, including the pre-election logic and accuracy test. This was the 10th public tests performed in 2020 that again confirmed the accuracy of the tabulation system. A pre- and post-logic inaccuracy tests were performed for the March 2020 jurisdictional elections, March 2020 presidential preference election, May 2020 jurisdictional election, August 2020 primary election, and November 2020 general election. Now, November 20th, the board held a nearly 3-hour public meeting to discuss probably crazed Trumpist concerns and questions raised by Maricopa County residents. Only after these questions were answered in a public forum did the board certify the results of the election. The canvassing of the election was completed in accordance with state laws. On February 24th, 2021, the board held another public hearing to review the results of the 2 post-election audits that were completed by the U.S. Election Assistance Commission that certified voting system test laboratories. The audits found the equipment and software were unaltered, certified versions, no malicious hardware or software detected, no evidence of internet connectivity identified, and the equipment was accurate tabulating. The meeting was broadcast live and still to this day is available to the public. Oh my God. 14 times complaints after the election fraud, manipulation, tampering were brought against the county. Each case was dismissed. Golly, can you believe? Okay, here's an interesting one. The Cyber Ninjas hand count reports and procedures revealed discrepancies that called hand count findings into question. Cyber Ninjas took nearly 6 months to count and report just 2 contests from Maricopa County's 2 million ballots from the general election. On July 13th, Arizona Senate President Karen Fann publicly said that their tally did not match the county's canvass, and she didn't know how much the 2 numbers differed. However, she ordered a separate machine count as a result. The Senate's machine count report states, these results show the machine count confirms Maricopa County's reported ballots total for the 2020 election. Okay, so let's hear this. Cyber Ninja says, hey, our hand count, the Cyber Ninja hand count doesn't match the county's. So then the Republican State Senate President Karen Fann says, oh, well, I need to have another separate machine count. And the Senate does its own machine count, publishes a report saying, well, it confirms the Maricopa County's reported ballots total. An incorrect hand count would impact other parts of Cyber Ninja's report, including inaccurate ballot findings and claims related to duplicate ballots. So basically they're saying, hey, if Cyber Ninjas can't even count the number of ballots, how correctly, which is confirmed by the Republican Senate machine recount, or is it a recount? How can you trust the rest of the Cyber Ninja report? At any rate, then let's see. There were claims about high bleed-through rates on ballots, improper paper, out-of-calibration printers, and questionable ballots, fake ballots, right? You've heard President Trump talk about this. Cyber Ninjas claim they identified 10 different papers used for ballots. Maricopa County used 80-pound vote-secure paper for every single ballot issued to voters during the November 2020 election. Election day, early and provisional ballots are printed on 19-inch, 80-pound vote-secure paper. Ballots cast on accessible voting devices are printed on 8.5 by 11-inch, 80-pound vote-secure paper. Our purchase and inventory of delivery records confirms that only vote-secure paper was used for official ballots mailed to voters and for ballots printed at in-person voting locations. The county used other types of paper for office use in 3 instances, but none included paper for ballots. Okay. Then basically they go through every single allegation. Then if you you may have seen on Twitter or on Breitbart, people talking about the presence or absence of microscopic yellow dots. The election department's imprimatur uses a variety of printers, HP, Indigo, Lexmark, Oki, to print ballots. These printers come with the different settings and features, but they all ensure the same high-quality level of security around ballot creation, printing, verification, and counting, no matter how a voter chooses to cast a ballot. Depending on the printer, the instructions in the header on some ballots are printed in color, and others are printed in black and white. While there are no watermarks programmed on ballots or on paper, 9% of the printers used during the general election have a standard feature that adds microscopic yellow dots to everything printed on that machine. The HP large-scale printing press uses for 99.7% of all mail ballots also print a series of random yellow dots to service the toner printer nozzles. These dots are not invisible to the human eye, do not impact tabulation, and have no bearing on whether the ballot is legitimate or not. They are simply a function of those printers. The remaining printed ballots do not have any randomly placed yellow dots. These ballots without microscopic yellow dots include 0.91% of vote center ballots that were printed on the Oki devices and less than 1%, 0.003% of mail ballots printed on the Indigo 12,000 machines. God. So basically, we won't need to go through every one of these crazy claims. But when next time you hear a stop the steal kind of convert talk about these allegations, you may want to point them, especially if they're big fans of doing their own research. You may want to point them to some more detailed reports. This is by the Maricopa County Elections Department. This is by a county that has been sued 14 times and won 14 times in court. This is not Breitbart. This is not some random website, right? So, and you guys can go check it out yourself. Just look it up. It's maricopa.gov, /just the facts. Okay. So we'll look at some other claims, and then we'll take some question and answer from the chat. But before we do that, I do want to take a moment to thank some of the people who make this channel possible. So for all you guys who are channel members, I really appreciate it. Keeps me motivated. It helps defray some of the costs for operating the channel and making this content for you. So at the highest level, we got to give a shout out to Soldier One. Soldier One is a senior vice president of Nerds for Humanity. Thank you, Soldier One. All right, now we got some vice presidents. Still got some top brass to go. We got Kristen Slevin, been a member for 24 months. Laura Lane, 20-month member. Bike 14 months. And Stephen Jones, our newest member, who just joined yesterday, is a VP. You'll notice when you make comments, you can tell how long someone's been a member by how filled out the nerd brain is. So Stephen Jones got a fresh one, and every month he'll get a little bit more filled in brain there. So thank you, Stephen, for all your support and becoming a new member. And then we've got the hardcore. We got Mike Chang, Gene Lim, David, DK, Jekkalego, who I think is in the chat, Kirsch, Mr. History, Byram, Mona, Susan, Vaughn, Yang, Tony, Robert, Dean, Statner, Galessa, Jay Perrin, AH, Jay Bryan, Vivian, Dana, Yoda, Fanny, Jason Sherfy, Parth, Parth Patel. So thank you. All right, Nell Nieves says, as soon as I find my next job, I'll renew. Well, I appreciate that, Nell. And, whenever it's makes sense for you, but just even being in these live streams and helping share out the content or supporting of the people, those are other ways to help out. Okay, then we have the verified nerd level. Lisa Childress, a member for 2 years. Sugar Sweet, 2 years. Albert, Tom, Brandon, Peter, Arez, your mommin. Sophia, Jadwiga, Mike, Doris, Emerald, Lori, Ben, Roger, Lisa, Rasta, Elizabeth, James, Emma, Hui, Ira, Patrick, Shoni, Philip, Jameson, Doctor, William, Karen, Monica, Ardent, Semery, Mai, David, Brittany, Sasha, Wanna See More, Warren, Lucky, Kevin, Finney, and H3 Simp. And then what I'm going to do is just give an extra shout out to our oldest and youngest members. So overall, our oldest members, Mike Chang, first one, then Lisa, then Jean, then Sugar, then Kristen, then Albert. So those are our 5 oldest members. And our 5 youngest members, Stephen Jones, Vice President. Got to give a bell for that, Stephen. Finney, H3 Simp, Kevin, and Lucky are some of our newest members. All right, now let's get back to some more myth busting. All right, let's see here. Operating system logs. I mean, we're not going to go through all of these. I wonder if we can go through some of their court cases. That would be kind of fun. Let's see. Look at this. I mean, they basically go through item by item and dismantle it. And apparently, not coincidentally, just this week, Cyber Ninjas has gone bankrupt and has let go of all of their staff. So Cyber Ninjas is no more after this. Screenshots of surveillance footage. Let's see. Blurred surveillance footage screenshot from the exact timestamp cipher falsely claimed the scripts were running to cover nefarious activity. Blurred surveillance footage of a voting test lab auditor and the auditor was at Dominion's keyboard. So let's see what they say. The response to the claim is much the same as the previous one. Senate contractors did not understand what was being done in the Dominion EMS server and construed actions as nefarious. The Senate contractors claim an employee ran a script at 11 a.m. on the 3rd of March, 2021, that produced 37,000 log files, which in turn purged the older logs to hide their actions. Oh my God, that sounds incredible. This is inaccurate. Our review of the Dominion EMS system logs during the time frame shows a total of 385 logs, not 37,686, and they show you an image of the logs file. These logs were not created to hide anything, as Cipher claimed, but rather as a result of necessary operations to gather materials for the Senate subpoena to conduct a statutory required election. Below is a timeline of actions. March 3rd, gathering the subpoenaed ballot images from the archives and tabulation equipment for delivery to the Arizona Republican Senate. This data needed to be compiled by running actions on the server. The applicant produced several entities in the security log during normal operation. So basically they're saying, hey, when the Republican Senate asks for files and records, you have to deliver it to them. If you want to give them those records, you have to request the software to produce it. When you do those requests, it adds it to the log of actions, which you would want to do, and that's what's happening. It's not a nefarious attempt. It's actually an attempt to be transparent and provide the information that the Trumpists were asking for. So it's very ironic. You ask the county to produce evidence. They then take action to give you the evidence. And then later on you say, what were you doing? It's like, yeah, I was doing what you were asking me to do. Relax. All right. Then they go through the user logs. Oh my God, how long is this rebuttal? It's like 100 pages, I think, huh? All right, let's see what else. I'll just kind of flip through some other things. Okay. There were claims of internet connections. And this is how, I guess, like the Venezuelans were hacking in or... What does the county say? The Help America Vote Act provides certification requirements for tabulation equipment, including security testing required before election is certified. Arizona law also requires counties follow federal guidelines on certification and additional requirements on maintaining the security and integrity of tabulation equipment. All these rules Maricopa County's air gap network prevents the tabulation system from connecting to the internet, full stop. In Feb 2021, 2 separate audits performed by independent certified voting system test laboratories confirmed that the county's EMS air gap network was not connected to the internet. The claims made by Cyber Ninja's Volume 3 report during the September 24th, 2021 presentation about the tabulation equipment and internet access are false. Cyber Ninjas also made misleading statements that profess the website servers are connected to Dominion EMS air gap network. They are not. There is no communication between the website and the EMS air gap network. Cypher also said that while they reviewed the county's public statements, the county did not provide a networking diagram. That document has been available to the public since July, and then they put a link to it. During the presentation, Cyber Ninjas uses the word attempts to describe activities on the EMS server. A simple analysis of the EMS server, its accompanying U.S. Election Assistance Commission certified installed applications and corresponding logs explain these attempts and confirms that no internet connections occurred. This basic research and analysis would have been better served to the public to ensure only accurate information is provided. So, as an example, when things attempt to connect, like your phone is constantly looking out for Bluetooth connections. That doesn't mean that it's making a connection. Furthermore, Cypher's conclusion that the operating system had not been updated since its installation refutes their own claim that the EMS had ever had internet connectivity. In October 2021, the county also hired PacketWatch, a cybersecurity and incident response firm. PacketWatch reviewed the county's air gap network and confirmed it was not connected to the internet. And this is documented in sections 2 and 3 of the PacketWatch audit findings report, which is in an exhibit of this report as well. PacketWatch confirmed what the county has stated. There are several technical indicators showing lack of internet connectivity. There were no antivirus updates, even though the antivirus was set to auto-update. So if you're connected to the internet and AVAST is set to auto-update, then there should be antivirus updates. Java was set to auto-update. However, there were no Java updates. If it were connected to the internet, it would have updated Java. Failed DNS requests. DNS was unable to resolve queries, meaning like it couldn't get to the internet. No successful entries in the network connectivity status indicator log. This log records Microsoft Server performing automatic checks for internet connectivity. IE, enhanced security enabled. No websites were on the trusted sites. This means any web page would be blocked unless the location was added to trusted sites, and there were none. Log entries show the network traffic for EMS Client 1 and other devices is an attempt to reach out to the admin page of a Canon printer. The URLs go.microsoft.com, FW link are identified by the default start page and default for Internet Explorer search box. It is typical of a mistyped address being typed in the IE search box with a redirect to bing.com as the resource was not resolved. Provide tables show many of the URLs listed were directed to hosts such and such subnet. Hosts would be reachable by clients on the EMS network and could not connect successfully even without internet connectivity. And then they go into, I'm sure, tons of details. They give you a little diagram of how the software works. I mean, you got to give credit to Maricopa County. Whoever put this report together was like, no, I am not going to stand by and let the cyber ninjas just talk trash. Frankly, who paid for all of the cyber ninja work anyway? That could have gone to basic income. On and on and on. I don't think we're going to go through everything, but if you're interested, just go look at the Maricopa County elections report. It's you could Google it, correcting the record. They talk about the hard drives. They talk about cybersecurity best practices. They go through all of these questions about the SQL server, network activity. Jeez. How long is this? Oh, I'm only on page 53. Son of a gun. Let's see if there's a bigger table of contents, because we obviously can't go through all of these. I know I said I was only going to go through one or two, but it's kind of, tempting. Let's see. So this is executive summary of all of the stuff. Yeah. Ooh, remember people saying about double scanned ballots? Let's go take a jump there. Oh, this was a very common one that Trump would always talk about. Hey, there were more early ballots returned than received. Mail-in ballot without the sent record. Yeah. Let's look at that one. Okay. Let's see. Cyber Ninjas included 5 claims that speculated indication of voters who were not allowed to cast who were allowed to cast multiple ballots. So people on Twitter were saying, "Hey, I support Trump, and my friend who's an anti-Trumper voted 10 times, right? Or these dogs are voting, or anyone can walk in and get a real-time provisional ballot. Like there's no confirmation of anything. It's just it's a free-for-all over there." So what does the county say? Arizona law governs the type of early ballot requests and return reports. Arizona law and elections procedure manual outlines the data files and voter records that law requires counties to produce for each election. Statute requires all counties create a daily report of early ballot requests. These reports begin 33 days prior to the election, end the day before the election. They are not intended to be, okay, so here's the important thing. They are not intended to be a reconciliation of all early ballot requests and returns, as they're required to end prior to Election Day. Historically, political parties use this for the get out the vote efforts. The file does not include any protected voters. And this is how Maricopa County and the political parties agreed to the file creation and sharing. It's a daily file created for both Republican and Democratic parties for early ballot requests. It's a daily file created for political parties of early ballots returned. And probably if I were a political party, I would look at the two and I would call the ones that haven't returned, right? So this file prescribed in law is the final. The voted file, which is a different file, is the one that is the final accounting for voters who participated in the election. This file is run after all ballot signatures have been verified and after all provisional ballots have been researched. This file does not include any protected voters. This file is distributed to political parties conducting elections upon request. So summary. Voters in Maricopa County may vote early by mail or in person. Arizona defines these cases. Any comparison using these files will likely lead to inaccurate conclusions, as was the case with Cyber Ninjas when they incorrectly claimed that over 74,000 more early ballots returned than requested. So why would there be more? The files are different. The political parties use the first set of files for get out the vote efforts. They're not the comprehensive listing of all voters. They have a specific and start and end date outlined in the statute, and they would not include any voters that were dropped off an early ballot on election day, nor do they include protected voters. So this is an example of Cyber Ninjas kind of not really understanding how the voting system works. And so they were looking at the files that are produced during the campaign that the political parties wanted to see who requested and who submitted a ballot. And they were saying, hey, the number that submitted from this early report for the political parties is different than the final count. And the reason is the final count includes ballots that were provided on and submitted on election day. And the political party's version does not include the ballots submitted on election day, because this whole thing is for get out the vote. There's no point in them going trying to get out the vote after the election's done or on the day of the election. It's too late. So it's like, if the election's on Tuesday, the political parties get a count up to Monday. But if you see how people do their taxes, there's a lot of people that submitted on the day it's due. And that's the discrepancy between what Cyber Ninja says, hey, there should be 74,000 less ballots than we're seeing. Well, it's because basically 74,000 were turned in on the day of the election. That isn't reflected on the file that you were given because you probably didn't read the instructions on what that file represented, because you work at a place called the Cyber Ninjas, and maybe you weren't as thorough as you should have been. All right. Let's see. I think that's enough for this one. So let's quickly just see if there's any questions from the audience that I can answer, or any comments people want to make. I'll try and go back in the history and highlight them. Let's see. Von Dormel, my coworker admitted that he voted for his passed-away wife while submitting his vote for Trump in Alabama. Should we investigate those? I think the reality of the statistics are, when you have in Maricopa County millions of votes, there's probably going to be some error rate on both sides, but that's not what Trump was saying, right? Trump was saying there was a mass conspiracy. Okay, let's go back to this one here. What was Trump's team saying? Let's just fast forward to a random spot. Okay. What is
primary election, and it ends by saying the products and services that are of Venezuelan origin, and evaluate Smartmatic's ownership to determine who could have influence and control over these and other Sequoia products and services are important to the national security of the United States.
So this is Sydney Powell telling the Trump followers that there's like a mass international conspiracy to steal the election.
The letter was written to Hank Paulson on October 6, 2006 by Congresswoman Carolyn B. Maloney. Senators Klobuchar and Warren have raised these concerns as recently as December 2019.
So you can tell, like, you put a bunch of attorneys behind a bunch of flags and you make these accusations, and now we know that it's bull, right? Like, where's Sydney Powell? Why isn't she winning court cases? She's claims she has all this evidence, so bring it. It's ridiculous. All right. Let's see. Think Beyond saying, hey, this explains the multiple toilet flushes. Oh, God. Think Beyond says, a judge said Thursday he will fine Cyber Ninjas if the firm doesn't immediately turn over public records related to the unprecedented inquiry. Yeah, these Cyber Ninjas, well, I think they have declared bankruptcy, so they can't be sued. And I'm guessing the Trump campaign won't be doing any more work with Cyber Ninjas. Bobby says, Yang taught us to look below the surface when analyzing phenomena and to dig deeper. Yes, I agree. But sadly, that's not what we're seeing today. And let me give you my favorite example of not digging deeper. You guys who can guess what I'm about to show you? I'm going to Twitter. I'm going to show you. Who can guess? Let's see. Put it in the chat. I'm about to. It might be a delayed thing, but I'm going to show you an example of the world not digging deeper. And here we go. So we're going to go to Twitter, and we're going to look at one of the leading brain trusts of the Trump movement, Lauren Boebert, who is pictured with the former president. Let's go, Brandon. What is, and I haven't reviewed it, but I know guaranteed Lauren Boebert will be saying nonsense at any moment in time. So 47 minutes ago, a Democrat's answer to a wildly unpopular agenda is not to get more of the people on their side. If they can't pass it with, what is she saying? Oh, God. Our nation is a constitutional republic, and our founders got it right. Yes, you love the Constitution, but you support the insurrection, and you didn't want to certify the results. All these people spouting off anti-Constitution ideas do so because they want to change the So, this is a great tweet. This is a great tweet. Because what does she mean? Let's unpack this. Okay? Oh, Elizabeth Norris says she can hear Daisy. Yes. Daisy is you want to I'll bring Daisy to say hello. Miss Daisy, come here. I hope she doesn't knock over the green screen. Somebody the nerds, whoa, don't knock over. The nerds want to see you. Oh, man. Oh, shite. Hold on, Daisy. Hold on, girl. 1 second. Okay, now we got Daisy. Miss Daisy. Yes, you're interrupting. You're interrupting the live stream. I will give you a little massage later, okay? Yes, Miss Daisy. I know. Okay. So Elizabeth Norris, you were right. Miss Daisy is in our presence. All right, let me get back to what I was saying, though. So Lauren Boebert is using a very well tried playbook that has served them well with the Trumpers. Our nation is a constitutional republic, and our founders got it right. So first, she uses the language, our nation. So she's saying, hey, our country, the sense of like, this is our country. It's under attack. Immediately you should be on the defensive. Then she uses very highfalutin language, like constitutional republic. Okay? Now, never mind the fact that you wrap yourself in the flag and you talk about a constitutional republic, but you don't accept the results of an election that is conducted as required by the U.S. Constitution. Right? In fact, you supported the Packers sweep strategy led by the Trump administration to try and to have Mike Pence reject the results from the states and have it thrown back to the Republican-controlled House of Representatives to determine it and to allocate the Electoral College votes. So don't talk to me about the Constitution. Oh, I think Miss Daisy wants to go outside. Hold on a second. Lauren Boebert, you're making Daisy angry. Hold on. Sorry, Miss Daisy. I know you don't like to listen to Lauren Boebert. I'll let you go out. You can hang out with the kids. No, Brandon, I'm on a live stream. Okay. So don't talk to me about being a freaking constitutional republic and then undermine it every chance you get. Okay, anyway. Then they talk about our founders got it right. Okay. So why do they say that? Because what the implication is that anyone that is not a Republican is somehow against our nation, against the Constitution, and against our founders. But what specifically are you referring to? Are you referring to our founders leading a revolution against a king? Against a king, an individual who had way too much power over the people? And now you're supporting a president who lost an election and claims it was stolen from him and wants you to fight like hell to put him back and tells a mob of people to go to Congress? What do you think our founders would have said on January 6th? So Lauren Boebert loves, and there's the whole MAGA movement. Like, they love to use these terms, and they like to use the other term, communism. Oh, yeah, it's communist. And then in the next tweet, they'll say, well, the government should take over Twitter and investigate Twitter because Twitter shouldn't be allowed to make decisions about its own business. It's like, dude, pick a lane. Are you for free enterprise or are you for government ownership of businesses? Because you can't pick and choose like that. You can't say, well, today I'm pro freedom, tomorrow I'm pro taking down the libs, and attacking all these companies. So anyway, next she says, all these people spouting off anti-Constitution ideas. Like what? Can you be specific? Because you can't. Because you probably haven't read the Constitution, and you probably don't even know where their ideas actually align or contradict the Constitution. Because they want to change the very definition of what America is. That's the ultimate, like, they're not one of us. They're different. These libs, these snowflakes, Oh, Antifa. Anybody who doesn't support Trump is either a communist or a member of Antifa. And then she said, not on my watch. I'm going to protect you. I alone can fix it. It's so disturbing. By the way, the reason why I spend a lot of my time, and also fellow volunteers like Ian and Don on the engineering side for ofthepeople.us, is because we all believe that there needs to be more choice. Okay? And ofthepeople.us is not my favorite candidates. It's an open platform. Any candidate can list themselves. They can then add tags for the policies they believe in. You can then filter them by your location, and you can see who's popular, who's the newest, and then who are some of the all-time most approved candidates. And this ordering is based on how many people will click on the approve button for a candidate. So you can approve as many as you like. And the more approval votes a candidate gets, the higher they get ranked. In this case, the all-time highest has been Christy Seelock, Ali Dalzimer, Austin Searle, Shervin Azami, and Lauren Hubbard. The newest of the people candidates, Daniel Lee, Robert Garcia, Greg Tanaka, Yu Niao, James Coleman, David Kim. And then the most popular, in terms of most recent approval votes, Brittany DeBarros, Robert Garcia, and Imani Oakley. Now, some of you may be saying, hey, how come so-and-so isn't listed here? Any campaign can list themselves. They just click sign up. It's free. They get added to the list. I don't control the order. The order is only controlled by how many approval votes they get. So if you're running for office, you want to get listed, you want to get discovered, then you can say, hey, I just want to look at the basic income candidates. So you can click the UBI tag, and you can see, okay, right now, the most popular, like, trending UBI candidates are Brittany, Austin, Alan, Eric, and Josh, right? Or you can say, hey, no, I'm most interested in AAPI candidates. In this case, I'm going to leave UBI checked. So AAPI who also support UBI. That would be James Coleman, Shervin Azami, right? So you can say, hey, I just want to see all the AAPIs. Then you can see Jay Chen, Stephen Lee. So it's pretty fun. You can then say, no, I just want to see people who are closest to my zip code, like 07430, which I think is in New Jersey. Then you can see, oh, Imani is in New Jersey, but then you've got nearby Uline in New York State and Brittany for U.S. Congress, New York District 11. So it's pretty fun. Go check out ofthepeople.us. And while I'm here, I want to give a shout out to people who support ofthepeople.us to pay for our hosting costs, our software development tools. One thing that we recently added last week you guys were talking about David Kim. So let's see here. I'm sorting by zip code. So let me just go for general, the newest. I think he's one of our newer guys. Yeah, here's David Kim. And one thing we added was now when you go, you can read a little bit about him. You see his tags. You see his introduction. But you now also see his recent tweets. So you can see him talking about voting rights, retweeting some stuff about healthcare, him talking about the need for bold measures, raising money. So that's now part of other people. And then some candidates, I think David's still working on his YouTube video, but some candidates, they've even embedded their YouTube introduction. So then they have their link to their website. You can follow them easily on Twitter. You can approval vote them. You can see their tags. You can see their introduction. You can see their introduction video.
My name is Brittany Ramos de Barros,
And
I'm a proud Afro-Latina Staten Islander, community organizer, and combat veteran.
So then she talks about herself, and then you can see her recent tweets, right? So this is just basically, of the people, is one effort to just try and, frankly, have pre-primaries, to have more new candidates, not the same incumbents over and over again. It's nonpartisan. Anyone can join, and it's all done by approval voting. We may actually add some other voting mechanisms in the future. So, but yeah, I figured while we're here, I'd share a little bit about that. So, yes, Elizabeth Norris makes a good point that he was so close to winning last time. I agree. When you think about the Yang Gang, and you think about the energy that we deployed, if it had been more concentrated on a fewer number of candidates, or you just say basic income, like Andrew Yang and Donna Imam, not Andrew Yang, David Kim and Donna Imam came really close. And I think one of the things that I want to do on Of the People is also for each candidate indicate basically what are their chances of winning. Because if you have a district where the incumbent won by, 80-20 last election, and then you got a UBI candidate that's going to challenge them, that's going to be very unlikely. And you may have someone like David Kim who came so close, like 6 percentage points last time in his first time around, and he's running against the same guy this time. You could argue wow, that is a winnable race. So the winnability factor is something that we'll probably try and include in OTP in the future. It's an all volunteer effort, so we put in a few hours a month to try and fix bugs and make little improvements to the website. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and please encourage the candidates to list themselves and go on there and vote and approve the ones that you think are most interesting. So with that, I think we've been streaming now for over an hour. I will say, let me just call out some of the recent comments. Love it when Tom asks. I enjoy calling bull poop on the hypocrisy. Soldier 1, David Kim needs to win this time. Totally agree. Oh, I'm supposed to be in another meeting at 9, so I gotta jump. Jackalago, nice job. OTP is coming along. Yes, thank you. If you guys are interested in supporting OTP, if you go to ofthepeople.us, there's a accelerate the project button, and that goes to our Patreon page. So maybe I will wrap with just calling out and thanking some of our Patreon supporters. If I can log in here. Oh, this is going to take me a second. There it is. Hold on, guys. Okay, so some of the Patreon supporters, the patrons, I don't, come on. Maybe it's relationship manager. Here we go. Okay. This is based on total support. We're going to start with our biggest supporter, Eric Sanchez, who actually used to work on the Yang campaign. Thank you, Eric, for supporting OTP. Tohir, Elizabeth Owen, Tony Perella, Rockout, Iggy, Aaron, Byram, Sugar, John, Rob, Timothy Jordan, Jessica, Trickle Up, Gene, Muhan, Travis, Austin, Mai, and Dylan. You guys are amazing for supporting democracy. With that, goodbye, nerds.